Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that take to the airways with fast scan television. We have a repeater located up on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. It's a crossband repeater and spits out images at 1.2 gigahertz. Also, we're on YouTube with our nets. All you have to do is Google WW7ATS. Just Google WW7ATS. That will take you to our internet site. Here you'll be able to find a link that gets you to YouTube. With what's going on in our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. Also there you'll find the frequencies that we transmit on and a little bit about our net. So with that, I'm going to pause in case anybody has an emergency traffic to contact before the net gets fully underway this evening. This is Dave, KD7CYM.
You're pretty crackly tonight, Dave. It's a little bit hard to understand for me.
Well, I guess we're going to have to live with the crackly a little bit. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. Again, I'm Dave, KD7CYM. Checked in by video link already is Ron, KD7QQ. Jessica, KS7UHK. M7CS. Richard, K7ITX. Wade, W7ITL. Jim, M7QO. And I got a text from James, WU7N, to attend the net this evening. And myself, Dave, KD7CYM. Is there anybody else who would like to check into the net?
Hello, 7 Hotel Yankee, follow on the old way.
K7HYB, that's it down. Anybody else wishing to check in? Okay, let's get the net underway. This is Dave, KD7CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Wave repeater, WW7STR, 147.0. So let's start the net tonight with Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, thank you very much, Dave, KD7ZYM in the group, KD7QKU. Well, Jessica, is that your house up there in Maryfield that's behind you? Oh, yeah, that's nice. I didn't realize it was 2 stories. That's pretty good. Well, before the net started, Wade and I were discussing the price of gas, for one thing. So today I drove up Pearl Street towards 16th there by, I guess it's Westgate Mall, and there's a Shell station. The sign said $4.99. Yeah, that's what I thought. And so there's another Shell station that's over on Mildred. It was $4.49. And the last time I bought gas was on Tuesday, and I was on Pacific Avenue South, and I paid $3.89 for it. So we were coming up Pacific Avenue North, and I saw this Shell station. We have a Shell credit card. It was $3.89, and I turned around. I told Joanne I'm going back and fill up because it's the price is really going up. That's probably the cheapest we'll find it for a while. So I'm glad I filled the tank on $3.89. So maybe some of you heard me talk. I had a little GE portable radio that I've had for quite a while. Gee, I just love the little radio. But apparently a little string broke in it that ran the dial back and forth. So today I decided to take it apart, try to fix it. So I've taken it apart. But you know, it was kind of like, it must be glued together or something. I'd taken all the screws out of it, and I couldn't get into where the string was. I mean, I could kind of see part of it, but the number dial, I'd taken the screws out of it, but I could not pry it apart, and I would have broke it, I guess. So I decided I could break it, maybe I could glue it back together, but I just decided to throw it in the junk. So I I think it was. So anyway, it'll be here in a day or two. So I'll have a little Panasonic radio. It's kind of nice to have a little portable radio to travel around. I have some other radios, but they're packed away in boxes. I have no idea where they are. So I looked in the boxes in the garage, believe it or not. I cut them open. There was no radios in there, so they're out in the shed. And I need a ladder to get those boxes down, so I decided to give up on that. So let me let it drop, I guess, for a second. So, we live on kind of the uphill from Ruston. And the wind, when it comes out of the north, must blow right across the water into Ruston and then right up the hill to where we live. Because today, it was, 52 degrees on the thermometer. And I put on a big heavy shirt over what I have on and put on my old tennis shoes. I was going to go out in the yard and do something. And I went out there for a few minutes. It was about 2 o'clock or 2:30. And I just didn't enjoy myself. It was just too cold. Now, I don't know if the rest of you are like that. Maybe it's just me anymore. Maybe I'm getting old now and I get cold easy or something. But, I don't know. That little breeze just penetrated me. It wasn't fun, so I came in. And our patio is on the east side of the house. So you can't even, the wind blows in. It's open on the north end. And faces kind of east and north. And it's in the shade. And at home, our patio was on the south side of the house. So on a day like today, the patio would be real warm. The only place here that's warm, of course, is the front of the house. And then the garage, in front of the garage door, of course, is the warm, really warm. But anyway. All right, back to that KD7QKU.
87QKU, Ron, thanks for that. Let's go on to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Jessica up here in Everett, KF7UHK. And actually our place is about 35 miles north of Marysville. This is in Mount Vernon along the Highway 536. And you see we've been putting on the trim for our solar shed. This just protects our inverter that's mounted on the outside wall. That in the summertime we'll get full sun. So this is kind of takes that away a little bit. I still may put in little fans to keep the whole shed cool when it gets really hot. I'll put some little solar fans out there with one of my extra solar panels I have. You can kind of see the solar panels on the edge of my roof up there that put out 5.6 kilowatts, which is very, very nice. Today it was an okay day for that. But yeah, it's still kind of cold. I was wearing 2 coats sometimes. And of course we get this wind that comes off the Puget Sound. Even though we don't see the Puget Sound, we're still coming on the flats. So you really get this wind that comes through there, and it almost feels like an ocean breeze house, because we get some really wild winds where we're at right there. Let's see, gas the other day here at Fred Meyer's across the street from me up here in Everett was $4.19 a gallon, whereas last month it was only $3.79 a gallon. So it's gone up, it's too much. It's gone up way too much. Let's see. We were just watching a movie called The Edge of Night from 1957, and it has John Cassavetes and Sidney Poitier, and it was a movie about them working on the docks in New York City, and it was a rough kind of movie. It's pretty fun though. Anything else? I'm going to pass it back to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK. Let's go on to Bert from Marysville, 07CM.
Okay, well, hello everyone. Let's see, can everyone hear me all right? Okay, cool. I think I'm running at a lower power than I normally do, so I forgot to switch that off. But let's see what's going on. It was neat to see Wade's cat there kind of doing a little cameo appearance in the background. I saw him jumping around on the box there. And Ron, thanks for reminding me about the gas prices. I didn't see anything that was $4.99 yet, but coming home today, we passed by a gas station up here in Marysville that was $4.59. So that was, it was just, I think, $4.09 last week. Now I've got the electric car, so it doesn't bother me too much, but my wife still has a gas car. And then, yeah, for the cold weather, when it's like kind of nice and sunny like this and windy, I find just a thin little windbreaker kind of does wonders. It makes you feel a lot warmer. So that's what I was wearing today when I'm doing a little bit of a walk. And, so the other news at the house here is that our furnace has failed. So we had someone come out to diagnose it a little bit earlier in the week, and they said it was a controller board that detects whether the pressure sensor is working or not. There's a little burn mark on it, so apparently something on that failed, and they gave us a quote to replace it. It was like $1,500. I tried checking to see how much the board actually cost itself, and it looks like it might be around $400, but I have not heard good things about trying to do replacements on it yourself, because if there's some other problem causing that thing to burn out on the board, you might just burn out another $400 board. But yeah, so the furnace is about 17 years old, so they're only supposed to last about 20, so my wife and I are trying to debate whether we should, let it drop for a second. We're trying to, my wife and I are debating whether we should just replace the whole thing, which is going to be like $6,000 to $7,000, or if we should try to take this gamble on the $1,500 installation for that board, that maybe we get another couple of years out of it or something. So we're trying to figure that out. But anyway, that's probably enough for now. So this is Bert in Marysville, in 7CS, back to that.
In 7CS. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society National 08 machine on K87ZYM for an ID. Let's go to Gary, K7HYB in Multi.
Good evening all. K87ZYM at Control to Stepping Hotel Yankee Bravo. Audio only tonight, and probably no video for quite a while until I get around to getting my temperature generator fixed. I think I've got a pretty good idea. I just haven't had that chance to get out and get the part for it. I think it needs a 5-volt regulator. That's my best guess at this point. And that'll get my temperature. I could buy another one. I can get one for under $50 on the internet, and I may very well do that too, rather than fuss around with making it. And gas prices, yes, very disheartening. I heard $4.59, and that's true. I saw a Shell that was $4.59 the other day. I was up in Angel of the Winds last night, and we buy gas up there. My wife gets a card and she gets 15 cents a gallon off, and we were at $3.69. Or no, I'm sorry, $3.64 a gallon. But that's with our discount. So anyway, that was a good deal. We go up there and play a little bit on the slot machines and buy gas. Whenever the fellow of the CRV gets slow, we make a trip to the casino. Anyway, and I have no weather report tonight because my weather station is not functioning. I have a repair part, and I got to reprogram it, so I'll get that done here one of these days when I get ambitious. That's all for last night. Good evening, everybody. I can see them on the web there. Picture on the repeater is remarkably good tonight. A lot of snow, but I can read it. I can make out the features for Ron and Jessica and Bert, so that's not too bad. Pretty good picture for around here. Back to you, Dave, K7ZYM, K7HYB.
K7HYB,
Hi everybody. I had the educational experience with our business meeting this morning, and that even went into the afternoon. It was great to see Rich and
and Rob, he was in rare form that really learned quite a bit, actually. Ron, so the crackling noise that we get from Dave, you might recall that, excuse me. Yeah, you might recall that Rob mentioned that it's a problem, they believe it's a problem with the antenna, and they just can't address it until, the snow melts enough and they can get up there and do all kinds of servicing and projects as he discussed. So it's kind of nice to know what's going on there. But I know Bert and Gary and Jessica, for that matter, and Ron, of course, your signals, along with Wade as well. Some of us have just such a good shot at Tiger Mountain, and then if we're running 50 watts or thereabouts, we have no problem. Seems like overriding the crackle. But if you're in a compromised position or compromised location, I can see where it can be where the crackling or static crash, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, it was nice to get an answer for that. So other than that, we're 39 degrees. We had a high of 52, a low of 36, and future forecast is looking at a sunny day tomorrow. So I'll believe that, and so I'm going to be barbecuing some really nice pork chops, probably around 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for an early Sunday dinner. With that, KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, let's go to Wade, W7ITL in Tacoma.
W7ITL here in Tacoma. Hey, gas prices are definitely on the rise. I just pulled up the Gas Buddy website to see what the prices are around me, and as Ron had mentioned, I don't see the 4-something. The price isn't updated yet, but the Shell down the street from me that's down the hill towards Ruston, it's showing at $3.79 8 hours ago. Safeway's showing at $3.99. Costco in Tacoma is at $3.99. So it looks like there's creeping up on everybody. Today's been pretty good. I went to the convention center here in Tacoma and checked out the home shows, like a home improvement. While all the contractors come in, they try to get bids. So I went and then I shared my number with a few of the contractors. Hopefully we can get a couple of good bids on our deck and our siding. And a couple of them said they would tear down the turret too for me. So we'll see what we can get for it. I got 3 of them going against each other. We'll see who comes out ahead. And maybe one of them won't run away, because I've been having a hard time finding good contractors this year. So hopefully those guys will reach out and we'll get a good thing. So yeah, I'm trying to think anything else to share this round. Nope, I think I'll head back to Dave here, and this is W7ITL back to net.
W7ITL, thanks, man. Let's go to Jim, Cunningham, M7.
7QO, thank you, Dave. Good evening, everyone. Wade, good luck with the contractors. I've had nothing but problems since moving to Seattle. I moved here in 2000, and I don't know, people come in and they'll give you bids, but then it's like they want money up front, and then they don't show up when they're supposed to, or they show up and start working, but then they disappear for a couple of months. It's crazy. Before here I lived in Houston, and man, that was great. A number of people would show up at your door, and they're like trying to be the lowest bidder.
it was really a whole lot different. So good luck with that. Yeah, gasoline. I drove by, where was it? I think it was Fred Meyer last week. I don't remember what, well, wait a minute, today's only Saturday. Anyway, I think it was sometime this past week I drove by and it said 409. Fortunately, I did not need any gas, but I was kind of shocked a little bit at that. Dick, I don't know, too cold to barbecue, I think. But not too cold to eat barbecue. So what can I say? Ron, it's not just you. I think maybe everyone tends to get chilled from time to time. I certainly do. In fact, when my wife and I first moved here, we're outside on the patio in the afternoon, and reset. Thank you. So we're outside on the patio, and it's pretty comfortable, but then as soon as the sun goes down, it's like, wow, we're reaching for a coat. And that feeling never really left us. It's not like we became accustomed to the climate here. So, it's not just you. Bert, furnace, I feel for you, guy. I'm having furnace problems myself. I've got like 3 furnaces here, and the one that primarily handles my shack is acting up as well. I've been able to persuade it into working, but it has sort of 2 speeds now, on or off. So I usually let it cook until it gets a little bit too warm, and then I turn it off until I need it again, unless it looks like it's going to go below freezing overnight, then I'll do something else. Yeah, I need to do something with it as well. I've been delaying doing anything because of the virus mainly. I hate to say that, but that has altered a lot of things that I do in my life. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I don't know. Good luck. A lot of difference between $400 and $1,500, but I think they got you. Just hope that you don't have to buy a new one, because that opens a new can of worms. So good luck on that. K7ZYM and 7QO.
7QO, this is Dave, 87CYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society met on the 08 machine for ID. So here in Lake City, I've got 42 degrees, and the weather forecast was to go down to 32 degrees at 6 o'clock in the morning, so it's going to be a chilly morning, I think, here in the and thinking about food, we have a gas-fired furnace. The heat exchangers last about 20 years or 21 years. At that point, you need to replace the iron grids. And generally, it's best to replace the whole furnace if it's a gas one. And gasoline, having an electric car in the last 7 years has been rather inexpensive to gallon, you might say, or miles per kilowatt. But anyway, my major concern is to make a transition from gasoline to electric cars. Do we have enough power grid to take care of that for all of America, with everybody firing up and charging overnight and charging periodically their cars? With a lot of amperage coming down the lines, I hope the power grid can handle that for an expanded usage. And that's about it for here at Lake City. This is Dave, K7CYM. So we'll go back up to Ron, KD7QKU.
Okay, KD7QKU here again. So that was a question I was going to ask, but I'm pretty sure he has natural gas, but it was a possibility, I suppose, that he could have electric or he could have propane. Some people have a big propane tank. Jessica, it looked like they were working on the door of your house, putting in a new door, building a little entryway. So, yeah, it looked nice. I like the window in the door. And, let's see. Yeah, no, I don't envy Wade any getting some bids over there in his house to do anything right now. With the price of lumber and labor, it's really high. I don't know. So my lawn actually needs to be mowed, and I was kind of thinking about mowing it this afternoon. The new grass that we put in the back, half of the backyard is new sod, and it's quite a bit taller than the old grass, but the old grass is greening up quite well. I put some fertilizer on it. So I was actually considering running a lawnmower over, but it was just a little bit too cool. And then I thought about going for a walk, but I sat here and thought about it, and next thing I know, I opened my eyelids, and it was about 4:30, so I gave that idea up. So anyway, didn't do much today. Went for a ride, looked at the Brown Bear car wash. I had 4 tickets for the Brown Bear car wash, and I dug them out, and they had expired. So in Bellevue, whenever we went to the car dealer, they gave you tickets, and then you get a free car wash. And I didn't always use them. I stashed them, and then it seemed like when I needed them, I would dig one of them out. Well, with this COVID thing, I don't think I've looked at them for 2 years, and so they were all old. Too bad. Threw them away. So I guess if I go have the car washed, I'll have to pay for it. And I suppose it's gone up in price too. So maybe I'll wash it myself. So I don't have too much more. So surprised Lee's not here tonight. And I think Dave said James wasn't going to show up. And of course we don't have Bob. So, but yeah, we really had a nice meeting. I left about 11:30. 11:30. And those guys, Rich showed up and they talked till about 12:30. So I guess I'm sorry I left. All right, back to that KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, Ron, thanks for that. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
Well, all this talk about electric cars, I got to go out and plug my car in, and they don't really want you to plug your cars in here at the condo just for price safety reasons. I'd have to cross a sidewalk to plug my car in, so that's kind of off limits. But I'm probably going to do it because the dealership where I normally go to around the corner here, there are 2 nice chargers that have been out of order for some time. And every time I go by there, they're still out of order. And normally I can charge them up in 45 minutes and have them completely charged from empty in that time. And so I got to go pull out the extension cord and plug a little auxiliary one in here before Tuesday, because they'll be using that because I'm back at the station. And so she uses the electric car when I'm down at the station. And actually, Ron, that's just it's a solar shed. And we put that door on last week, and we were putting on trim today. Tomorrow we're going to put a little more of the siding on the front of it, just these little blocks. And that just protects my inverter from weather and sun. And it runs better when it's being taken care of nicely. And it was probably a big part of the cost to our solar system that puts out power onto the grid. So that's all that was. And then we're also going to hang some shovels and some rakes out there because there's places for it in there. So it's just a little shed. And it's not actually attached to the house. It's right up against the house. It's very solid, but it's not actually attached to the house because we didn't want to get any permits and worry about the county coming out and saying you can't have that here. So that's what that is. Keyboards. Speaking of your radio with the string that broke on your radio, I have a keyboard that has 3 sticky keys. This is an old Yamaha, and I kind of like the keyboard still. But the problem is these keyboards are usually kind of integrated into one piece. So you can take the whole thing apart and still have the keyboard with all the electronics on one piece. And I'm probably not going to be able to do much with that. So I So I limp along with it, or I'll plug another keyboard into it and use it as a as a slave master kind of thing. I can run it from another keyboard with MIDI. So I think I'm probably out of time. This is Jessica KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK, thanks for that. And this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. And that takes care of the ID. Let's go to Bert, M7CS.
Okay, someone was asking about my furnace. It is a natural gas furnace, so it is not propane, not electric, natural gas. Let's see, Jessica, that's sorry to hear about your condo not allowing you to charge your car there. I imagine that's going to become even more problematic for them as time goes on with more and more people buying cars there, so don't know what they plan to do about that in the long term. And let's see, what else? I've missed quite a few nets in the past month or so, but one thing I had been doing previously, I mentioned this a few times, was I was watching this Survivor Australia that was available on Paramount Plus. So I finished the first season of that. I started watching the second season, and then it disappeared from Paramount Plus. So it was only there for about a month. So I've not been able to finish any of the other seasons, or finish the second season or start any of the others. So it's like they pulled the rug out from under me, and apparently they have some kind of contractual obligation or something, so that when in Australia a new season is actually airing live, they can't allow you to watch any of the old seasons at all. So now, given that those are like 26 episodes in there, Oh, can you not hear me, or are you just okay. Yeah, given that there's 26 episodes and they would air an episode a week, that means for half the year I won't be able to watch them, so I'm going to have to wait another 5 months before it comes back to finish watching that season, so that's pretty crappy. Let's see, and the only other thing I did today was after the meeting, I did a little more testing with my DVB-T stuff, my digital stuff, fired up the amplifier for the first time in probably about a year. I've been a little bit negligent and doing any testing with that, so finally fired it back up. Took a while to remember how to do it, but so far so good. Anyway, this is Bert and Mary's and 7CS, back to that.
M7CS, let's go to Gary, K7HYB and Multi.
Yes, good evening. And I would empathize with all the problem people are having with their furnaces and stuff like that. I still got a bunch of debris in my backyard left over from when I had the ridge line between the two yards of my house replaced here about a month and a half ago, and it's not leaking anymore, fortunately, but I still got a bunch of junk in the backyard left over from the job, so that'll be taken care of one of these days. I'm just kind of curious, because I've been having a little trouble. I've been trying to log in on the streamer at Cougar, and I just wondered if the IP address had changed, or maybe I've been locked out again, because sometimes my IP gets changed, and I guess that's maybe what I need to check and see what my IP is now, and maybe the streamer doesn't recognize it. Anyway, I haven't used it very much because I've been on and off, and I haven't really been paying a whole lot of attention to it. But I was sitting here listening and talking to everybody. I figured I'd take a look and see what it looks like. Still got a remarkably good picture from the repeater tonight. Probably as good as I've seen in several months. Must be the weather's changing that's going on. Anyway, I know we had quite a bit of wire ranging discussion today at the meeting, and I was just thinking about it. I asked Ron about that camera at Tiger. It would be kind of nice if we had a couple of those cameras besides the inside one there. I have probably 3 or 4 Wi-Fi cameras that I'd be more than willing to donate to that cause to put them on. I would have had run it on to the Amtrust next Saturday, I think, and maybe take a serious look at what all that analog gear they've got down there. Maybe if they get desperate enough, they'll go pretty cheap. So anyway, I don't know if that rail was going down, but I usually go down with my son. When I asked him to drive this year, so he could drop me off at the gate, and I don't have to walk from the parking lot with my walker. Anyway, back to you, Dave. K721, K7HYB.
K7HYB. That's checking in at the net. Let's go to Richard and Kent. K7ITS.
Okay, yeah, it is a wide range of topics. I don't think I'm going to go to the Ham Fest, but who knows, it's a week away, so I could still change my mind. So let's see, where did I want to go? The furnace situation. I had my original furnace that came at the house, brand new house. It went out after about 18 years. So that was maybe about 6 years ago. Let's see, 18. I think maybe I've had the furnace longer, the new one longer than that. And it was a similar situation. The control board was extremely expensive. In fact, I ended up buying a new furnace, but I don't know. I think I might have got the El Cheapo model furnace. I mean, I like it a lot, but the Royale thinks it's too loud. But it was like, I'm not kidding you, I think the furnace was like less than a couple $1,000, and I just couldn't say no to the price. So I was pretty happy, if you want to know the truth. So now the big mission is to get the central air conditioner installed in conjunction with the furnace. Now, I'm hoping that they'll just be able to, install the air conditioning business outside, kind of similar to a heat pump. And then it'll be close enough to the electrical service by the garage, and I think they ought to be able to get the cool air, whatever it is they do, over to the furnace blower fan, and I should be okay. But so that's my mission for next week, along with the problem with the truck. Yeah, right now the price of gasoline is the least of my problems. I have a truck that I love to death. It runs great, except I'm pretty sure its control module is on the blink. It ruined a battery that was about almost 3 years old. Just went by the lean. It would turn the headlights on automatically and not let them turn off. And it drained the battery down once completely, and I was able to, recharge it, bring it back to life. But now, so like an idiot, I didn't pay attention. I got it all charged, it ran great, and I didn't think to check anything, the next morning or day, whatever. I let it slide for another day and a half, and of course it's deader than a doornail on, and the headlights are on real dim. Of course I'm not turning them on, and oh brother, so then I tried to charge the battery, and no, it ain't going to take a charge like it should. So I think my mission Monday, Tuesday is to get a new battery, and then make arrangements with the dealer to figure it out. And I'm hoping it's the control module,
anything other than that, if it's a wiring issue, but I doubt it. It's old. It's an old truck. I want to say it's a 2005, I think. Yeah, 2005. And so, and it sits out outside all the time. And, the mileage isn't all that terrible, but I know control modules, things like that, they just, time is the worst thing for those things. So, God, there was one other thing, I'll think of it if I get another shot. So, KD70M, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, Richard, thanks for that. Let's go to Wade, W7ITL.
W7ITL here in Tacoma. So let me make a few comments. Let's see. I think Bert, you said that your furnace is going to go out. $1,500 is quite cheap comparatively what they go for now. I just got done putting in another heat pump. We have a couple different solutions in our house. One in our bedroom, which is just with ductless. That was $11,000. Our main central air is, I think we paid over $20,000 or so. But I didn't get up their price. So maybe the $1,500 might be a better way to go if that's what they're already quoting you. Let's see. Gary, if you send me your IP, I could probably update the Grand Stream for you. Let's see, who else I was going to comment? Richard, sounds like your car battery is going out. Yeah, hopefully you get that figured out. Those are always fun. Hopefully it's not the starter, not the alternator that's going out. So, yeah, I think we're winding down here at the end. So it was really nice hearing Rob today and him to chat with and talk to Rich. And excited about the new digital modes that we're going to probably be able to do here shortly once we get everything figured out. With that said, I think we'll turn the net back. This is W7ITL. Back to Dave.
W7ITL, Wade, thanks again, and it's ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the 08 machine on KD7ZYM. So let's go down to Covington, to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, Wade, man, some of those prices you spit out there, I almost peed myself. God, that's incredible. I would seriously have problems if they gave me quotes like that, but yikes. Good luck there, Bert. Hang in there. Let's see. And Bert, bummer with the TV shows. That's so frustrating. You want to sit down and kind of watch all this stuff, and you can't. Sorry. Oh, Jessica, keyboard. Oh, looks like you're on the phone. I'll get you later. Let's see. Ron, napping. Yeah, you're probably not the only one who has that problem. A couple years ago, I told my doctor, I said, Doctor, I'm having more fatigue than usual. And you know what he said? He said, well, that's normal for someone your age. And I'm like, gee, thanks, Doc. But then I go to work and I'm talking with some of my colleagues. I say, yeah, Jim, we know exactly what you're talking about. So, I don't know, I hate to say it, Bert and Wade, but you reach a certain age and your energy level just kind of drops. It doesn't drop fast and it doesn't drop like really hard, but it deteriorates. So I guess get stuff done around the house while you still have energy to do so. Let's see. Reset. And Dick, probably what they're going to need to do with your air conditioning unit is install a coil, sort of like a radiator unit, inside your furnace housing, somewhere pretty close to the blower. They may or may not have enough room to do that. If they don't, hang out for the prices which Wade just expressed. Ouch, good luck with that. And as for your truck, he's leaving the scene. I was going to say with the truck in particular, I guess, okay. Sometimes, if you leave a vehicle parked outside in particular, I've noticed that you tend to get corrosion on between the battery post and the terminal lug. So they sell devices like this. You can clean the battery post with this wire brush inside here, and then there's another wire brush, so you can clean the terminal with this. And I don't know how much they charge at the auto parts stores for these things. You may be able to find one at the dollar store for $1.25 nowadays. God, what a crazy world. Anyway, that would be the cheapest thing for you to try. Just clean off the battery posts and the terminals that connect the truck to the battery itself, and see if that makes a difference. I noticed that a couple times. It worked for me. Just something to try that won't cost you much. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
M7QO, thanks for that. Yeah, this is Dave, 7CYM. I was going to say for Jessica, with her keyboard, she could probably ground it with LPS, and that might loosen up some contacts for the keyboard itself. Sometimes that works, and sometimes you just have a mess that you got to use a lot of paper towels to clean up the LPS that goes through the device. And as far as furnaces go, I had a situation with my furnace, and they were talking about the heat exchanger was tied to its life extended limit. And so I installed a couple of carbon monoxide suggested one in my basement, one upstairs. Should that particular problem, and it's been 2 years and haven't had any problems with that. So anyway, that's my only advice on gas furnaces that I had to offer. And again, this is Dave, TD7ZYM. So let's go back up to the top of the list to Ron. TD7QKU.
All right, this is KD7QKU again. Well, after listening to you guys talk about furnaces, maybe I'm happy over here we have electric heat. The price of natural gas may go up too. Car gas is going up. And Jessica, Chuck had a keyboard, a really nice one apparently, old, and a lot of musicians or, kind of the band rock players wanted it. But he'd taken it to a place up towards, I went with him as a matter of fact, but I can't remember exactly where we went. He'd taken it to a place and they fixed it, tuned it up, made it really good, and then Chuck put it up for sale. He sold it right after that. He got a lot of money for it. Apparently he'd had it for a lot of years, and it was, I didn't know the brand or anything, but apparently it was something that people really wanted. And Richard, a friend of mine, had a Ford truck, and I swear he maybe had the same problem you did. You never knew when the lights were going to go off. You never knew when the lights were going to come on. And the interior lights were the same way. It was awful. It was 4 driveway taking it hunting, and man, oh man, it really worried me that we were going to be stuck up in the mountain with a dead battery. But he said that it usually would quit, but in the middle of the night, you'd look over the truck and the interior lights and stuff would be on. It was, man, he finally got rid of the truck and sold it. And I had a truck that had a problem, a Ford truck too, and I had a camper on it. We were on our way to going to the Grand Canyon or someplace, and I had to stop in Salt Lake City and go to the Ford dealer and have it fixed. And they told me, just like Jim was saying, it was a bad ground. And I was going to take the instrument cluster out and everything else because the instruments wouldn't work right. The temperature would say it was hot and everything, and I couldn't imagine that when they told me it was just a ground, and I think they charged me, $45 for fixing it at a Ford dealer. And then I started, I think we headed towards Las Vegas, and I couldn't believe that it, was going to be fixed, but it was fixed. I never had any more trouble with it, so I don't know what ground they cleaned, whether it was someplace maybe, chassis to body or something. I have no idea. They didn't say, and I didn't ask. And then, third, I kind of understand how you feel, because I lost root over here on Dish, so I can't watch baseball, or I couldn't watch the Kraken hockey. And the other night I found the Kraken hockey for the first time I'd ever seen them play, and they were playing on TNT, I think it was, or TNN. It was on my dial, it was 138, and I thought, oh boy, they're going to start showing them on 138. That's going to be great. So today, let it drop. So I was saying that, I lost the root on Dish, and then I couldn't see the Kraken, and I've been kind of wanting to watch them. And then the other night I found them on 138, and I thought, oh boy, they're going to be on 138 for now. That's going to be wonderful. I'll be able to see the rest of the season. Well, they're not on 138 tonight, and they started playing at 7 o'clock, I think. So, I don't know. They have some screwball movie over there, a movie that Jessica would probably like. I'm sorry, Jessica. But anyway, that's it for me. So I'm going to say, I'll say 73, but I'll probably see you on Zoom. So 87 QKU, back to them.
87 QKU, let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
That's quite all right, Ron. I like the craziest. And I've been finding these old like film noir movies, which are kind of it's dark. It's like French dark, and so they've been really fun to watch. One we watched the other day was some bad guys who had escaped from a prison, had taken some prisoners or some hostages over to a nuclear test site so they could try to extort money or something like that, or just find a way to get away from the cops. And it was really enjoyable. It was very fun, but it was all black and white. And if it's come out earlier than I was born, that makes it even better. So let's see. And speaking of furnaces, this house here that you're looking at in the background, it has a heat pump on it. But when we bought the thing, we didn't know the heat pump was not actually hooked up. So I think it was plugged in a bad way. But the plumbing to the heat pump that sits on the outside of the house was not actually plumbed in. So we had to call someone to come in and check it out and put it all together and run new hoses. And so now it's probably warranted for the next 10 years, or probably 6 more years, since we did it a few years ago. But that's really nice to have. And it also does heating, and it also does cooling. It's not a fast heater. It doesn't heat up the place very, very fast, but it's quiet, and it's fairly efficient otherwise, and it makes it very comfortable. So that's kind of nice. But it was probably not cheap. It was probably under $3,000, but probably not much. So I'm going to say 73 here for the time being. This is KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, Jessica, thanks for that. Let's go to Bert in Marysville, M7CS.
Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to think of what else to talk about. Oh, well, so when I was doing my amplifier testing today, I actually bought two of those commercial amplifiers used from eBay. And the first one that I had done all my testing on, whenever I power it up, it's very, very noisy, and the fan sounds like it's grinding and screeching and stuff. I finally tried the second one today, first time I actually tried powering it up, and the fan was a lot better in that one. It was just more of a loud hum like you would normally expect from a fan. So that means I probably need to take that first amplifier apart and try to find some replacement fan for it to make it a little nicer. But anyway, that's probably all I have. So 73 all, this is Bert in Marysville, 87CS, back to net.
N7CS, let's go to Gary, K7HYB and multi.
Keep it too long, but Bert, why don't you give me a call? I'm usually at home every day when you're doing some testing and you put that thing on the air. I still got you UT102 down here. I got to get it back here one of these days, but I can still hook it up and maybe receive some video, some digital video to you. I don't know if you've got the capacity, level, did quite a bit of experimenting with it there for a while, and I've kind of forgot what the settings were, but I can go back and revisit it, and I still don't have access to the streaming, Wade. Back to you, Dave, 7308 K7HYB.
K7HYB, let's go to Kent, to Richard, K7ITX.
Okay, well, yeah, Jim, thanks for the advice on cleaning the battery connections and terminals. I was going to, I have to get a new battery, so, the battery that's in it's shot, and so I'll get a new battery. But when I get the new battery and put it in the truck, I'll do everything you just said. But I have a feeling I have a problem more in line with what Ron was talking about. I can't picture, but it's possible, a bad ground or, a bad, battery terminal turning the headlights on, for crying out loud. But I had experience like Ron talked about with the interior lights coming on, and my answer to that was just to turn that feature off completely, so that if and when the control module, in my mind, would want to turn the interior lights on, because I thought it was a bad switch in the door. So my theory was, well, if I have the feature, you can turn it off completely on the dashboard, and so that if and when it ever powered up, the lights just wouldn't come on. And so I limped along like that for the last 2 or 3 years, but now with the headlights coming on automatically, and I have the headlight switch completely off, and it comes on anyway, I'm just pretty much, and then my daughter's got a Ford Focus that she was keeping here, and I was babysitting while she was out of town, and its control module definitely went on the blink, and the way we know that is because it said it was out of gas. Well, it wasn't out of gas. And she just happened to have a really good friend that used to be a Ford dealer mechanic, and he tested the fuel sensor. I guess he took it out of the gas tank and all that kind of stuff and tested it all out, and he said the fuel sensor's fine. He says it's the control module, and they're going to charge about $1,000. So Quite honestly, if it's the control module and I have to pay $1,000, that to me is better than $60,000 for a new truck. So, so anyway, I ran out of time, and the whole net's closing down upon me. KD7ZYM, K7ATS, 73.
K7ATS, Richard, thanks. And it's time to close off the net. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. We'd like to thank the owners and operators of the Seattle Repeater Group, CTAC Repeater Group, and the CTAC Repeater Association, WW7STR Repeater, for utilizing it for voice transmissions on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So again, on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, closing the net at 9 o'clock. Good evening all.
KC3TFZ disconnected.